Hi, this is Eric Lehman, and I'm reading my story, The Last Sasquatch. The last Sasquatch buried his child at dawn. Lowering her cold, orange-furred body gently into the forest loam, he moaned softly. She had been hit by a moving rock on one of the hard trails of the Pinkwins. The hair on the Sasquatch's arm shook as he used his great hands to shovel cold dirt on his offspring. He grunted and sighed, patting the earth and moving ferns to hide the presence of her body, for surely the Pinkwins would desecrate the grave if they could. Tall fir trees wept brown needles in the family scene, the last of its kind to ever take place. But the Sasquatch did not know that. He knew that his people were fewer now, and in fact had not seen another in several years. But they were widespread, wide-ranging beings, and he thought perhaps that more of his kind lived on the far side of the Green Mountains, beyond the great desert, in the highlands at the center of the world. Nevertheless, as he stood up, he sniffed the air with dread. The stench of the Pinkwins was everywhere now. His people had hidden from them for so long, ever since the awful thundersticks that could kill them with a flash, in the time of his grandfather's grandfather. And they had been successful for the most part, he knew, because most of the Pinkwins were unaware that he lived his life out here in the endless forests. Many had walked by him on a forest trail, oblivious to his quiet presence, and he wondered vaguely how creatures with so little awareness had prospered. The last Sasquatch also had a vague sensation of the uselessness of his people's triumph over discovery by the Pinkwins. For were they not lessened now? Were their green homes of old not destroyed? He remembered tales of the great beasts from the time of his grandfather's grandfather and before, and where were they now? He did not know, but had the inklings of a thought about their fate. The new grave was now invisible to all eyes, even his own. Those skills had not left him, the ones that had secured his people's survival. As he limped into the forest, grunting a farewell to his lifeless daughter, he pondered his own situation. Perhaps he would travel to the meeting place in the 3 hills, where last he saw another of his kind. Or perhaps he would travel north to the lands of cold, where his father told him that many had retreated to during the time of his grandfather, and perhaps lived still, away from the moving rocks and hard trails, in a land of hope. A small part of his mind even wished to show himself to the Pinkwins, to shout his rage at these monsters who had taken everything from him. But his instincts and education held, and he did not do so. Instead, he let his feet carry him up long wooded hills and into narrow valleys, easily moving across the landscape, as if he were a part of it. For was he not a part of it? He was, though none of the Pinkwins ever knew it. He existed, and he walked the earth with a light tread belying his huge frame. He could smell fish in the river ahead, and a blueberry patch on the hillside. After a meal, perhaps he would feel better, and carry on with his lonely, nomadic life. Soon, perhaps, he could forget his sorrows and his struggles. And as the last Sasquatch slipped smoothly deeper into the forest, he grunted softly, picked up his pace, and swung his arms around, as if by force of his fading strength alone he could challenge the senseless supremacy of time itself.